for tuning into No Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today we're coming to you live from the historic appellation of Chateauneuf du Pape in southern Rhone, France. And we're being hosted by Domaine de Beaurenard. And Domaine de Beaurenard is kind of a fixture in this particular area. They've been producing wines since the 1600s. And when we look at some of the magical terroir that they share, first they utilize all 13 different grapes that are unique to Chateauneuf du Pape. And also when we look at their plots, in other words, where those grapes are planted, they are spread out across the appellation of Chateauneuf du Pape. So they have some grapes that are planted in the alluvial soils, where we have the river rocks, some where we have the clay soils, and some in where there are sand and gravel. And what's nice about that is when they harvest fruit from those different areas and the fruit comes together, it produces a cuvee that takes some of the best qualities of all of those different plots. Now, this particular winery is also a biodynamic farmer. So what that means is they follow the planets, the moon, and some of the celestial cycles to determine when they fertilize, when they pick, when they do different things in their vineyards. So chemicals are at a very last resort or not used at all in this particular type of farming. And also when we look at the wines themselves, one thing that's unique about Domaine de Beaurenard is they produce wines for every type of palate. So when we look at a Chateauneuf du Pape Blanc, for example, they have Chateauneuf du Pape Blancs made from the 5 different grapes that are, the 6 different grapes, because we have Grenache that jumps back and forth from red to white. So the 6 different white grapes, and they have varietals that are, wines that are produced in stainless steel or neutral vessels, and they have ones that are aged in oak. So they have completely different textures. So when you think about a little more traditional Chateauneuf du Pape or a little more New World, they have them that gravitate in both those areas. Then when we look on the red side, there's some basic utilitarian Côte de Rhones. They have some plots also up in the Rasteau area, and then specific cuvées here in Chateauneuf du Pape that have various aging in oak. And really what is the soul of this particular winery is this particular wine. And this is a wine called Grande Partita. So Grande Partita really pays homage to one of Mozart's symphonies. And in Mozart's symphony, in this particular one, they had 13 wind instruments in that symphony. And when you parallel that to the 13 grapes of Chateauneuf du Pape, this wine is as harmonious as Mozart's symphony. So let's give it a little taste and see what we think. So if we look at the colors of this particular wine, we notice that it's a deep ruby garnet color, just slightly transparent, with a beautiful velvety robe. When we swirl to get the aromas, we notice there's everything from grilled meats to plum to cherry and a little bit of raspberry as well. Now across the palate, it's the best part, of course. We notice this wine has a very, an excellent mature fruit persona. It enters the mouth with a hint of raspberry and plum, and then fades into a spicy, peppery, almost with a slightly incense stripe. And then on the back side of the palate, you notice that the tannins are gripping and fulfilling. Really an exceptional bottle of wine. So we've thoroughly enjoyed our visit to Domaine de Beaurenard, but that's all the time we have today. So please tune in next time, and soon you'll know wine in no time.